Greetings, everyone, and welcome. Today, I want to take a pause from my usual discussions about the elements. Thus far, I have discussed the water element and the fire element. With the fire element video, I plan to remake that one at a later date. Today, I want to discuss about the 13-month calendar. This month of February has 28 days. Everyone usually complains about why is the month so short? But in all actuality, this month is actually perfectly aligned with nature. I want to take a minute here and share my screen. And show you this calendar right here. February 28th, 2026. We just had a Friday the 13th. In all actuality, all months should have a Friday the 13th because we want to take much time and care to honor the divine feminine as we possibly can. She is the one responsible for our life, our health, our strength, and our liberty. She gives us everything. We only have to do the work, a little work. So, the calendar is perfectly set up, with Sunday being the first day and Saturn's day being the last day. Sunday represented by gold, and Saturn representing the lead or Saturn. So we want to turn the lead, which is our rest day, into the gold, which is our new start of a new cycle. Okay. Now, Friday the 13th is feminine, represented by Venus or copper. Moon Day is represented by the moon or silver. These are two of the divine feminine attributes. The water element, which is controlled by the moon, and the earth element, which is controlled by Friday or represented by Friday, which is Venus, which is beauty. As you know, we live in a beautiful, beautiful world. This is a beautiful planet. And those represent our subconscious minds. It also represents emotion and our intuition. When we don't follow our intuition, things don't always go as positive as we would like them to. And we say, darn, I knew I should have followed my intuition, but that's a part of it. And unfortunately, a lot of this was taken out. The intuition, it was all about logic and everything's got to be a certain way instead of going with the flow of nature and the flow of Mother Earth, the flow of the waters, the tides. As we all know, the moon is control the tides here on the planet. So, with a 28-day calendar, we will have 13 months, which will equal out to 364 days, plus the one day that they call the day out of time, which is around July the 25th. But in 1532, Pope Gregory XIII, I love that, decided to change the calendar. to get away from the Julian calendar, because he wanted the equinox, the spring equinox, to be on March the 21st. That's what is said in the history books, on Google, places like that. However, by doing so, we became out of sync with nature. We were locked in a box of 12, repeating, with, of course, Thursday being Jupiter's day. Jupiter is represented by 10, the 10 man in the Wizard of Oz, and he doesn't have a heart, so he doesn't care, just work, 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 and all you do is you got to work. And this has caused a lot of trauma to people, especially now with everything being high and et cetera, problems, trying to make ends meet. But it all can go back to normal when we get back in harmony with nature. Because the moon also, it represents the emotions. And we know that sometimes our emotions, especially when we're going through a lot of things, can get the best of us and cause us to do things without thinking or taking note of things that might be going on in our lives. But I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the benefits of being in sync with nature. When you're in sync with nature, things go in a much smoother and harmonious way. The calendar was changed, and Ophiuchus, the wounded healer, was removed as a 13th sign. But if you don't have Ophiuchus, you stay in a locked box. Ophiuchus unlocks that box. He allows you to go into a higher consciousness because you're able to elevate, and everybody says that time is linear, but actually time is cyclical. And Ophiuchus represents that circular spiral of going into a higher consciousness. The serpent here that Ophiuchus is holding has also been demonized, along with the number 13. Ophiuchus represents the wounded healer, also known as the serpent bearer. But Ophiuchus was wounded, and he needed to be healed from those wounds. So he has to have the wisdom in order to heal himself from those wounds. And Sophia is known as wisdom. I might eventually do a video about Sophia. She represents the wisdom, and it was demonized. She was demonized, and all the feminine qualities of this particular sign has been demonized by the patriarchy. And there's probably a few reasons why. And I might touch on them briefly. But back to the number 13. It's not as bad as we would have it to be, most people would have you to believe. Because if that were the case, then we wouldn't have all these 13s on the $1 bill. Keep in mind that everything comes from nature, earth. You get all your oil your gold, your silver, your copper, all these things are attributes of Mother Earth. And the number 13. So, on the dollar bill, for example, we have 13 arrows. We have 13, excuse me, we have 13 arrows, 13 olive branches, and a macabre with 13 stars above the eagle's head. I presume that it represents the 13 colonies that came to settle here in this creation of what is known as the first world. Everybody calls it the new world, but it's really the original. But back to point, the number 13 has to be recognized in order for us to be in harmony with nature. If we fall out of harmony with nature, we fall out of harmony with ourselves because we are nature and we're a product of nature. So I'm not going to make this video very long. I just feel it's very important that we discuss this number 13 and the importance of being in harmony with nature, mind, body, and spirit. That represents the macabre as well. And we could go into that. We'll make videos about that at another time because I don't like to make the videos too long. I just want them to be to the point and get my point across. So I hope you've learned something from this brief presentation. And if you have any question, comment, concern, please reach out to me. And I will appreciate any and all comments. And with that being said, I believe I will close now. Okay. Let's see what thing. Oh, there we go. I'm getting the hang of it. Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe to this channel for more videos. And we will talk with you soon. Peace, love, and light. I'll stop my sharing now. Ashe.